Lindsay, Heather, Fran, all you hoes is mid. Heard a fake rumor about me, ain't got something on the kid. That don't change the fact that there's just no flavor in your wrist. That was given from the start, so it just is what it is. Now drop the pin, well, when I step to the plate, everybody knows that I electrify. Every time, I just pray and never fall, even when the bullets stick when I signify. Every girl is out of my league, so these days, man, I just watch Geminis. They thought they had us down bad, now we going 25.
From the I'm Not Copping podcast, we got a good one for you, ladies and gentlemen. We got He's Majors. Everyone else is mine. Is D Majors in the house. We got Corey in the building as well, man. What it do?
What's going on? What's going on?
Oh. Yes, sir. We got a whole bunch of good football talk about, and we also got a little NBA preview. We don't sneak in there. But before we get into it, make sure you like, subscribe, tell a friend about your boys at I'm Not Copping podcast. I see he got what chain you got on tonight, D?
Roll Tide.
Is it safe to say y'all back? Do you believe in the coach now? Or y'all back?
I'm going to say this. What I've seen the past 2 weeks, I'm very, very impressed with. I'm very, very impressed because we have dominated in the trenches like we're supposed to. I think the biggest question was with going on the road first against Georgia, can the coach actually win on the road? And two, can he dominate Georgia when it's time to, come through in the fourth quarters? And I think our defense stepped up and played well. And shout out to Ty Simpson. He's been doing his thing, been writing everybody off that's doubted him. So Ty Simpson, shout out to you. Keep on balling.
We hitting the polls. We hitting the polls.
Not yet. We got a long way to go. Not yet.
Corey, what you think, man?
Well, one, he's not the Heisman. I think I don't know. That's no clear-cut Heisman yet, I feel like. But I think Alabama is back. I think this game tomorrow is going to be a sleeper one because it's a lot of them tricky teams that trips Alabama up. I think Missouri is a very tricky team, and they're playing away as well. But I think over the last 2 weeks, you've seen Ty Simpson really sell in, especially having that game against Georgia on the road. He wasn't really phased at all. Even though it was really high scoring, many Georgia Alabama games aren't high scoring at all. I think he's really controlled, really poised. The only thing I want to see is Ryan Williams sell in or get some more targets. Because I feel they have a good receiving core. The running backs are okay. Not your traditional standout Alabama running backs, but I think if Ryan Williams could come into himself like he showed the first half last year, then yeah, they can really make some noise towards the SEC championship and the playoffs as well.
I feel that. Going back to the original, is Alabama back? I don't feel like they ever necessarily fell off or anything. I think it's been an adjustment for the coaches and then the personnel you guys have. I've been preaching for a whole year now, D, that Bernard's your number one receiver. And Williams was it Ryan Williams?
Ryan
Williams is the Maserati. I think you got your possession receiver, great route runner in Bernard. And, Ryan Williams is over the top. I really like you guys as tight end. I'm like Corey. I know the running back was hurt at the beginning of the year, so maybe he amps it up. But I don't know. I'm not really sold on him. Like, I don't know if he's, like you said, your traditional great Alabama running back. And I think that's what you guys kind of been missing the last couple of years is a guy and that really. But Ty, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, D, we've been saying this. I really like the kid. I don't see anything wrong with him. I think the team's gonna go as far as he carries them. Just to be honest, because I mean, no one really, besides my team, Ohio State, has a really great defense. I think everyone else has a, good to very good defense. So I think, you guys, he's going to lead your guys further as it can go. And I just think if you guys just play to his strength and just get a better running game, I think you guys will be fine. I think the Missouri game, though, catch a lot of people surprised. think it'll probably be a little close, but I think you guys are gonna pull it off. Pull off.
And I think when we say like if Alabama is back, I think it's we so used to growing up the last decade and plus where Alabama is blowing teams out. They're always in the national championship or in the contention for a national championship. So last like 3 or 4 years, you want to go to the Bryce Young era, it really hasn't been that. It's been like where like even like for when Nick Saban was on the outs, it was like where like it's not we're so used to Alabama being there, and they were there one year. They lost to Georgia, and then they lost to Michigan in the Rose Bowl. So I think when it's saying like are they back, it's like where's that old school Alabama like where you're running for 200 plus yards, you guys are blowing teams out by halftime. Um, and they do have a 5-star running back commit coming in next year. So he looks a lot like Mark Ingram when Mark Ingram was playing there. So I think next year when they really have a full all around offense, then yeah, I think that's when we'll see the typical Alabama like it's theirs to lose basically.
Yeah.
Well, to go off of your point here, I think the thing is we have to get on. I think even the NFL, the NBA, and now like I think since us obviously being a lot older in our mid-20s, I think the era has officially changed. I think when we say Alabama's back, I think this is the new Alabama. We remember the old days, and I think it's a reset in all sports right now where we just happen to be lucky enough where we've seen a lot of the older, teams and dynasties. I think where they'll enter age and it's still be interesting to see. I don't think we're gonna get dynasties like that. Even going to the NFL where the Chiefs, yeah, you probably can call them a dynasty, but they're not like how the Patriots were. And, I think it's a lot of nowadays we may get like a championship, but then, they're still in contention, obviously. But I don't think we're going to get where it's just the same team, same team. I think we're going to get different outputs of teams. And just doing back to college, I think where the landscape of these playoffs, and as we've seen where the number 1-2 team that the fans consistent and the media have, they're not even gonna be in the playoffs. Obviously, Ohio State won last year, but it's just a matter of time, that they're gonna get into a tricky game. And a lot of times we've seen is it's better to lose early than late. So it's still be interesting to see. D, did you have anything to add?
Going back to what Corey said, Ryan Williams, I get you said he's the Maserati, but he's really costing us a lot of big opportunities in games. Like he's got to pull it together because like they're looking for him to be like that guy, and it's like you got, of course, Bernard, who's our main reliable receiver, and you got Horton as well. But you're supposed to be the guy that we're supposed to be talking about as being up next to Jeremiah Smith, like being the best receiver in college football. So he's definitely got to step up. And also shout out to number 74, Big Proctor, catching the pass and running it down Vanderbilt, last game. Shout out to Big Proctor. He's been pulling through and stepping up.
So while we're still here, Corey, if you had to choose Ty Simpson, Carson Beck, or Deontay Moore, who's your Heisman favorite? Or someone else? Who's your Heisman favorite?
My Heisman favorite was Garrett Nussmeier, but he's just been too inconsistent. So out of those three, I'm gonna have to go the one who went into Beaver Stadium and got a win against Penn State. I'm gonna go with Deontay Moore from Oregon, and Oregon's always been one of my favorite programs, favorite teams. Just because, well, one, just because of their jerseys, they always got some fire jerseys. But Dan Lane's a really good coach, and I feel like Deontay Moore has really that was like his first big test. He really didn't wet the bed. A lot of these quarterbacks sometimes they'll go into these high pressure situations. We saw Arch Manning first week of the season, and he went to Ohio State, and even though it was a relatively close game, he wasn't Arch Manning. Um, even with Ty Simpson going to Florida State, I don't think he really cost him that game, but he kind of he wasn't hitting himself essentially. But yeah, I'll go with Mr. Moore from Oregon. I'll say a Heisman front runner.
D, I shouldn't even ask D this question, but go ahead, D.
Unfortunately, I'm not saying this as being a fan, but I'm gonna have to give it to Ty because under the circumstances, what has he been able to overcome? Like, because the biggest question was about Bama was like, what's their quarterback situation gonna look like? And I think he's pretty much proven everybody wrong. And just like look at the 2 weeks against Georgia, he went in there, Athens, a team ain't lost a home game in 6 years, did what he's supposed to do. And then last week against Vandy, I'm not going to put the interception on him. That wasn't his fault, neither here nor there, but he played well in that game. And I feel like you give Ty Simpson opportunities to actually make plays, he's going to do them. And I feel like he's been writing everybody off, and I'm proud of it. So keep doing what you're doing, Ty. Salute.
Well, I guess we got a split because I'm gonna take Carson back. Um, as I've been telling D, you got to think this fits the story. You get the kid that got rolled off, transferred. Now he's taking another team, about to lead another team. I think all three of them are probably going to be sitting in the room. I'm just being honest. Unless that we get someone, Jeremiah may sneak in, but I don't. Unless Jeremiah numbers like kind of has a couple crazy games, I really don't see it outside the quarterback position. And reason I do also say that, you got to think where the U being back, he's going to get additional support off of that. And their schedule, I mean, who do we say Syracuse is their next hardest game? I mean, they don't have, they're going to run off wins. Oregon and Bama still got some teams to play and conference too. I don't really, who y'all get besides what you think they're gonna match up against Florida State again in the ACC championship? I don't know who else is.
I mean, I would say like so far, Ty Simpson, Deontay Moore they've had their Heisman moments this far. You talking about this slate of games because Ty Simpson went into Athens, won. Moore went to Beaver Stadium, won. I don't really know what Carson's back Heisman moment has been. I mean, I know he.
Well, they beat Notre Dame
So
and Florida State.
You got Virginia and Georgia Tech as being the top in the ACC.
Right. I mean, yeah, you beat Notre Dame. You beat. Who else did you beat?
They beat Notre Dame, right?
They beat Notre Dame. Who's other
Notre Dame and Florida State, depending on where Florida State ends up at.
Florida State. So it's like if he could, I don't know, he would have to like, I guess for me, solidify. It had to be a game where he solidifies as okay, this is his Heisman moment, and then I would say.
So let me ask you this: do you think if he goes, they go undefeated, headed into the playoffs? And he may not necessarily have the Heisman moment because they're the way they're winning. Do you think the writers are gonna vote him in where Bama may still get another additional loss, or they still got one loss? We don't know what Oregon may split or something, or take a loss. Do you think they're gonna weigh that perfect record versus someone having a moment in tighter contested games, or I think that's going to look like he just dominated, the field to play?
It's kind of be similar to that to last year when it was Travis Hunter and Alshon Jeanty. Is like who deserves it more. I think it's going to come down to one of those situations because Colorado last year was playing more, in a way, more ranked teams. And then Boise State wasn't really playing ranked teams. So that's why you see Alshon Jeanty's numbers were just going, rough shot because, like, you're not really playing no good defenses. So, of course, it's going to look like, So, I think it's going to be a similar situation. I think the record is going to play into it, of course. Um, yeah, record and stats. If Moore can win this weekend and maybe win out, I don't know who else Oregon plays besides Washington. That might be besides after this Indiana game. I think they might play USC too, but I don't know. But we'll see.
I think that's going to be the main thing because looking at Bama's schedule, we have four ranked teams that we still got to play. Like you got Oklahoma, who's 5, and LSU is 11, and you got Tennessee, who's 12. So if you run the table and Ty Simpson is playing at an elite level, then you got to take that in consideration
If he
as
runs
well.
the table, and throws for at least 4 touchdowns a game, then yeah, that separates Ty Simpson from everybody else, and
Yeah,
goes on to win the SEC championship.
yeah,
That's a clear cut winner.
yeah.
But if you,
So
but
just to
yeah,
throw in devil's advocate here, we all know Notre Dame. I still think they're going to sneak into the top 15. Say
I don't know why
Notre
you got their
Dame.
face. They gonna get in, bro. I'm telling you.
You know how
D
they
already know
feel
my
about
D already know
Notre
my feelings
Dame.
on it. I hate Notre Dame for that reason alone. They don't play nobody I was
Um,
doing. So
Florida State was a top 5 team when they played them, and say they get another top 15, 20, and he runs the table. I'm just kind of curious to see. I don't think anyone's wrong here, but I just feel like that Miami nostalgia is gonna still hold some weight. And I'm still curious to see if it's someone we don't see runs the table. You know, because I think it's time where even though like these three to me probably kind of lead the pack, but I'm really curious to see who's gonna go on a run that we be like, dang, this kid is balling out, balling right now, and see if there's gonna be a surprise team or, you know, even though we laugh, we just mentioned Notre Dame. I mean, one of their running backs, I can personally see if they get it going, they may jump into it. I mean, it still be interesting to see. Before we go jump into NFL, D, I'm gonna start off with you. I already know how you feel on this. Is the time up with James Franklin?
Yeah, it's time. It's time. Like we got to stop 4-21 against top 10 teams. Like it's inexcusable. Ain't won a conference championship since 2016. And I just hate the narrative where it's like, well, you got to think who's in the Big Ten. The Big Ten is the biggest conference. Not really. I mean, you got Ohio State, Michigan. Sometimes Michigan State, sometimes Illinois. A sorry team may sneak up there, but you cannot lose to a team that fired everybody on their staff and a former player who comes on the interview saying, "Well, I didn't know how to put the headset on. I'm new to this job, and you're supposed to be a seasoned veteran coach, a high paying coach at that. Like, nah, it's time to go. Because how many more years we got to give you? And another thing that kind of sucks is like the type of money he's making 70, 50 to 70 million. Woo!
Got to keep them that bill. Are they the biggest surprise or disappointment this year, or you don't throw it
Yes,
to Texas?
yeah,
Except Penn
they're
State.
the biggest disappointment because this was their year. All
Or
seniors, Drew Allar supposed to be up there in the Heisman. Yeah, yeah, this is very disappointing.
I remember Greg Popovich. He used to always say, "Have he say respectable fear for your opponent." And I don't think, and on paper, you would have thought Penn State was supposed to blow UCLA out. But that's why you play the game. That's why you get in between those 4 lines and play the game. So is he on the hot seat? Yeah, I would say yes. I would say it's getting very, very warm. Because like I said, it was supposed to be their year. They had a pretty favorable schedule, like they always do, usually. I mean, the only 2 teams they really play is Ohio State and
Oregon.
Oregon. I don't think they play Michigan this year. I could be wrong, but that's your only 2 tough teams. So where do you get off losing to UCLA? And then even then when they lost to Oregon 2 weeks ago, they still kept them in the top 7.
Well, I think they gave them the benefit of the doubt, but the way they lost to
At home.
UCLA, I think that was just, yeah, this ain't it.
Yeah, so I think it's very warm. I think they might give him one more year, but because in colleges, it really is like if you've been there for a while, unless you're gonna retire, they hardly gonna fire you. So
Well, let me ask you this, Corey, because D put to this point, and this will be a topic for another day, where these coaches are making, I mean, they're making salary of NFL, NBA players. I mean,
mhm.
can you really afford to cut a $50 million check to someone and buy them out their contract? And you got to think, Penn State, if I'm not mistaken, have one of the highest, payrolls with their athletes already. So
Well,
what's the bottom line?
yeah, I mean, yeah, you might have to just for financial reasons, you might have to let them just ride out on that contract. But I mean, a lot of their money comes from their donors, their alumni. A lot of great players from the Penn State, so of course they don't get back to Penn State, so that's who's funding their salary. So it isn't like they just take money away from the school or from their players or anything. And these players have NIL deals and stuff like that. So, um, I mean, if you do fire James Franklin, who are you gonna get to replace him?
Well, that's the next question where I was telling D where, how we just mentioned earlier, we're in a new era. I think we got to start issuing new coaches at some standpoint where we're getting on a treadmill or, for lack of better terms of it's the same coaches who are just, how we were talking about the very good quarterback, the great quarterback, and then, you got your average. We got a lot of
Average coaches.
but I will say be nice, above average to good coaches at these high priority schools, but there's too much talent. And that's the thing that gets me with him where I would love where, how we mentioned the Deions and even the Syracuse coach. I think he has the right mentality, but they're at schools where their talent, no disrespect to anyone on those rosters, their talent pool is going to be limited.
Yeah.
Where I can't imagine if Dion was in there running the show or the guy from Syracuse, that would have got buttoned up in the offseason. Like that offense and this, that, and the other, and I really was rooting for James Franklin and what's my guy in Notre Dame, the coach. I want to
Freeman.
Yeah, I want them to get over that hump because at the end of the day, it's still a stigmatism. Even when, going back to we was talking about the black quarterbacks and everything else, where there's still a stigmatism with black coaches of, dang, it'd be nice to see if one of them we can identify like, dang, he built the program, he got the natty, he installed it his way. Where it sucks because let's be honest, I don't think this Penn State roster, that's probably gonna be the best roster they have in the next 5 to 6 years.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
you in such a financial hole where it's gonna limit what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to think about with some of these basically with these I know there's 134 college teams, so
Right.
there's a lot. But you got to think about with some of these coaches that aren't black, that they came from a lot of times they came from a coaching tree of Hall of Fame coaches. So you can look at Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, Lane Kiffin, Dan Lanning, who
you are right. That's a great point.
You learn from the GOAT. So it's easy for you to go into a program and just basically took what he taught you and still some of your own philosophy, stuff like that. But your foundation is, okay, I'm gonna do what Nick Saban did and whatever. We have coaches like Dion or Freeman or even Franklin, they had to learn on their own. And
that's a Corey, I want you to save that too, because I want to hit on that next week. Because coaching tree that's a real good point. And like D, how we've been talking about this, the lackluster coaching in sports right now. Trees are dead. We just getting, before it used to be a branch of a branch to a branch to a branch, where now people are planting their own, tree, but it's not really a system. I mean, you get guys of, even when we was talking about Colorado, like your team, Corey, where they're just pulling people. These are just Deion's connections, but there's no real, okay, this is the system and this, that, another, where, like you said, Saban's tree. But then you look up from Saban's tree, Saban came from Belichick, and, and it's just a consistent.
Even in the NFL, you had Belichick came from Bill Parcells, and
Yeah, you're right.
And then you had the Shanahan tree, you had the Andy Reid tree.
You're
so
right.
It's like but yeah, I think at the end of the day, with some of the newer coaches or whatever, and this is my last point to it. You gotta give them time, because we even see it in the NFL, like with Jalen Hurts, his offensive coordinator. He's had 8 different offensive coordinators ever since he joined Philadelphia. So it's like you gotta give these coaches some time to grow and stuff like that. Now if you do pay him all this money, you gotta bring, hey, we paid you all this money. You gotta bring some proof to why we paid you all this money. So that's it. But
say, who's been a bigger? Do you think they're one of the bigger surprises this year, or disappointments, or you think that's Texas?
Who is?
Penn State.
I would say I'm more leaning a little bit more towards Texas, because, and as much as I love Peyton Manning and the Manning family, the first family of football, but I was expecting Arch to ball out every single week, and I was going to talk. Besides Colorado, I ain't gonna talk about my team, but Texas was my other team. Like, okay, I can't wait for Arch to march his way down to Atlanta and go to the SEC championship and beat whoever he needs to be, and kind of bring the full culmination of the Manning, bloodline to fruition and everything like that. But him and his play against Ohio State, against Florida. Yeah, this really has been, even when they playing the sucky teams, no offense to San Jose State and them, they weren't really blowing them out like that. So, I
don't know what it is, but I got this gut feeling that he gonna win tomorrow. You know how big the river rivalry is. I got this gut feeling that he gonna pull it off against Oklahoma.
Yeah, me too. I mean, he can't afford to win. He can't afford to lose.
Like, I don't know, because the way like their quarterback is now coming back, he has like a bone in his throwing hand that's kind of not all the way together, but it's just something that with the bright lights and with Arch, I think he gonna kind of come through. Just imagine the storyline. His first biggest ever victory in the river rivalry.
And they can't afford to lose any more games, because basically three losses, you're out of the playoffs.
That's what I'm saying.
So if he wins out, wouldn't that make up for a good headline? And Steve Sarkisian, you talk about coaches. Sarkisian's been at Texas for a minute now, and last year was his time.
And he gonna have to get together, especially with that roster, because
last year was his time, and I don't get how you missed all them field goals in the SEC championship, and then did they lose to Arizona State? Did they? I don't know. They lost to Scatterboo and his team, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, they beat Clemson, and they lost to they lost to Ohio State, remember?
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
But if I could jump in here, I think, and I was telling D this earlier, and I want to make a poll for this week is, at what point do we not blame the coaching staff with this Texas collapse? Because I don't think this team, and it's no disrespect to no one on Texas, but this team was not good as nearly advertised. I know everyone's thing is Arch, and I've never seen one player be more responsible for something. Like, yes, he's not been as advertised, but let's be honest. Take out the last name, right? We see the same thing, for comparison with Bronny, right, in the NBA, where we're taking a last name instead of looking at the player for what the player is. We never seen Arch at the typical quarterback. He was just the scramble dude last year. Why isn't the OC and the head coach more responsible have y'all been doing over the spring that they didn't get no hints that this offense wasn't where it needs to be? You know.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, you didn't finish your thought.
I would just say, like, there was no hints. There was no one saying anything but a head coach who's still not proven. But we're just blaming everything on this kid. I'm sorry, but I haven't seen a single dynamic weapon on Texas. I ain't seen a running back. The defense was supposed to be stellar. The defense hasn't even shown up. And at that standpoint, we can't just blame everything on this kid who, honestly, yes, he's not a true freshman, but in reality, based off of everything else, he's a true freshman. I mean, let's be honest. He didn't play as much, and what they're asking, he's just going to carry Texas and just walk away.
I think at the end of the day is equal blame, and this goes for college football, NFL, because you can coach all the schematics, you can coach all the schemes, whatever, play calling, whatever. At the end of the day, it's for the player to go out there and execute. And if you're not doing what you need to do as a player, studying your plays, watching film, stuff like that, the coach can come up with the best game plan in the world, an A+ game plan, but you're not going there doing what you need to do, then it's your fault. So
but
I say,
my bad, go ahead.
I know you're good. I'd say it's equal blame. I think it's 50-50 when a team is not performing to their abilities. And I say it's even for my favorite teams, for the Ravens, for Colorado. Some of it.
But honestly, as a coach, you kind of can tell if the kid really ain't all the way ready.
That's true. That's what I think it's equal blame, because the coach has to do their part in seeing, like, in deferring to, like, their OCs, the quarterback coaches, running back coaches, stuff like that. And then the players have to do what they need to do, because, again, you chose to be here. Nobody put a gun to your head and made you play football. You want to be here, so you got to put in the work to make sure that you're prepared to go out what you need to do. So I say it's equal blame.
Well, the reason I brought this up is I get upset where the kid didn't win the starting job last year. And we already knew his limitations, but, like, we just expect off the last name alone, he's carrying a whole team. I haven't seen a baller in general on Texas. And that's my whole point, where it's like, is it really all the players, or is something else going on in that locker room where them kids, they were, we're Texas, this, that, another, like, and they're just rolling through stuff. Like, I'm sorry, that Florida game was unacceptable.
Yeah, they should have won that.
It's unacceptable. But when you see stuff like that, it makes me start to think. And then if we know the kid is struggling, a good coach is going to make some type of adjustment. And they haven't adjusted to anything.
And
go ahead.
And I think going back to your point, because you said a few weeks ago with some of these coaches being a little archaic, a little old school, like, you're going to do it my way or no way. I think a lot of times, for first point, with Arch Manning, we saw a small sample size of him last year. He played two or three really bad teams. We got caught up the hype. So we didn't get to see him play really anybody. And, of course, Quinn Ewers is going to keep that spot because he's a senior quarterback. But to two, I think it needs to be a better relationship when it comes to coaches and their players. Because if I'm a coach, I'm going to my players saying, okay, hey, what do you feel comfortable with as a quarterback? Now,
Yeah.
of course, we still got to work on your weaknesses. But what do you feel comfortable until we get your weaknesses fine-tuned? What do you feel comfortable? Do you like play actions? Do you like RPOs? Do you like, screens? Like, what do we need to do to make sure you're your best self? And then,
another thing I want to mention to tag along to this, people don't understand that even though Arch is leading his team, I'll read his stat line. 1,151 yards, 11 TDs, 5 picks. He's also leading his team in rushing with 5 touchdowns. And his star receiver is a freshman, only having 279 yards.
Who's that, Wingo?
No, his name is Parker Livingstone, a freshman.
Oh, okay.
With all these juniors and seniors. Arch is leading his team in rushing.
once again, this team is. I've never seen something where we're blaming a kid, a first-year starter, on the whole program. The coach is not being accountable for, and the rest of the team is just crazy. But hey, we don't go ahead and switch it over to the NFL. We don't go ahead and talk about the hot topic. Corey, your former quarterback just got traded to the Bengals. Why is this even a trade? What
I'm
is
about to say,
going on?
I'm about to say, Peyton Manning still playing. I'm playing. Joe Flacco. I think the Bengals, they just want to have some veteran leadership in there, a veteran quarterback. I think this is his last year because he ain't got that. I think the last couple of years he's shown he still has somewhat of a capability to lead a team, but yeah, I think they just for leadership purposes and stuff like that, they couldn't stick with Browning. And and hopefully this opens up the door for Shador in Cleveland. I still don't think Dylan Gabriel is the option there, but that's my opinion.
D?
This is unacceptable. This is ounce of 9, ounce of 10. This is just ridiculous. You just got benched in Cleveland. And the Bengals think they slick. This is not even about winning. This is about your two receivers just trying to get the ball. And since Jake Browning has been playing bad, not his fault, but he's been playing bad, you just decided, you know what? Joe Flacco may be old, but we just need somebody that can just keep us in the game. Because think about it. Jamar Chase is getting frustrated that he's not getting the ball. He's making all that money. Same thing with T. Higgins. Like, they're frustrated. And you begin to see with these receivers, all they care about is getting their targets. They don't care about just winning. The team sucks anyway. No O-line, a bad defense. So Joe Flacco, let's bring him over here so he can at least get us, 10, 11 targets.
I might as well get 10 touchdowns for the season.
That's what I'm saying.
If I can't win.
That's what I'm saying. We're not going to win anyway. The defense sucks. So this move doesn't make any sense. Just leave him in there, and they should have just let Jake Brown and stay in the game. There's no point of pulling him. I mean, the team, like I said, the team's bad. Because the year that when Joe Burrow got hurt before and he went on a run, at least they had something. They had a little bit of something, but now they ain't got nothing. So
but you know also it is with these quarterbacks getting injured, because we got so many of these dual threat quarterbacks nowadays. Back when we were growing up, even really Mike Vick and maybe Dante Culpepper was like the only two dual threat quarterbacks. But a lot of times these quarterbacks stay in the pocket and they felt any sort of pressure, they got down.
Right.
Like they weren't. Now you do have your outliers of like maybe Big Ben. He was mobile. Aaron Rodgers was mobile. Russell Wilson was. But all these quarterbacks now, the reason that their injuries are happening is because they don't know when to get down. The only person I say is an outlier in that is Lamar Jackson, because he can make a play out of no play. But if you Jane Daniels, if you Joe Burrow,
Pat
Mahomes, he really get injured. So Josh Allen. I mean, Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson are the three outliers in that. But everybody else, if you know the play is over, get down. Like save your body, save your legs essentially, so you can play another down or play another snap, because you're trying to extend the play when the play is over. That's how they're getting hurt. So,
Sheem?
Well, I'm gonna rip the Band-Aid off. This is another distraction on what's really going on in Cleveland. Like, we just messing with that kid at this point, and it's just crazy because no logical reason. I don't even know what the Bengals are doing. I don't know what the Browns are doing. We're just teasing people. This man just got benched. Joe Flacco been washed up since they won a championship on the Ravens. Hey, let's just call a spade a spade. You have the worst offensive line in the NFL, and you're gonna bring Joe Flacco? Like,
41-year-old quarterback in there?
He can't move to save his life. And at that point, what are we doing with Jake Browning? Like, I get the kid hasn't played good, but Bro, the Bengals have been the same freaking team since they lost the Super Bowl. The team is maxed out. You got 4 people taking up the whole salary cap. You can't fix anything on that team.
And they gonna hang and they gonna hang their hat on that Super Bowl appearance. So they've been
That's
there for the
it,
last
bro.
4
Let's
years.
call a spade a spade. I don't think the coach is the guy. They got a whole bunch of hoes. I'm just being honest. In Cleveland, we know what's really going on. Johnny Manziel been talking about it and hinting around it, and there's a lot of stuff in Cleveland that's malpractice, and they're literally just doing this to. What's the odds? Like, much as I don't like Russell Wilson, but come on, dog. Russell Wilson's clearly better than Joe Flacco. Like, go get the quarterback. Like, there was other options.
And we saw that on last night's game. They were booing Russell Wilson when he got into the game. They didn't want him there. And Brian Dable is thinking the high heavens that Jackson Dart is in his job.
Y'all better get Jackson Dart.
Oh, Corey. What Corey say? I was exaggerating. But
he peeked in that tent and said, "Hey, bring your ass. Come on."
But in general, there was other options out there. Like, what are we doing, man? I'm gonna say this, D, because I promised I said I was gonna say this. Hey, man, I don't care what y'all say. I'm gonna tag Cam Newton in this. But come on, Joe Flacco better than Cam Newton. What are we doing, dog? Cam can't get a job, and we got Joe Flacco in the league. Like, what are we doing?
Forget that. Colin Kaepernick can still play.
Like, what are we doing, bro? Joe Flacco ain't saving not a damn team in the NFL, bro. And then he don't go over there just to start and get benched again. Mark my words. He's going to get benched again. And then they're going to go back. If I'm Brown, then I'm sitting out for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I would.
But the disrespect, like, what are we doing, man?
For the Cleveland Browns, I always say there are certain teams who don't want to improve or who.
No, say that again.
Wait. Name that. Wait. Hold on. No, hold on. Name that.
Say that again. Say that again.
Name that. There are some teams who are afraid of success because they never really experienced success before.
Say what you originally said. You didn't lie there. Say it for the people.
They don't want to improve.
There are certain teams I really believe that they are literally just there to be bad, bro, and it's an ownership problem.
Or I think because that's why I changed it. I said they're afraid of success because, and that goes into just everyday life. Like sometimes we psych ourselves out because, what if I am good for the job? What if I am what if I am the right person for this or for that? Oh no, I can't because I got all this whatever. I think the Browns are saying, well, shoot, what if Shador can't lead us to the promised land? What if he? Can we keep him? Can we get the people around him to keep him happy? Like, what if it does happen? And I think a lot of times for certain teams like the Browns, the Bengals, who else will I say? The Giants,
Jets,
the Jets, the Jaguars, Titans.
We found our guy.
And it's like, what if? I think it's just like, what if we are successful? What's gonna happen then, or will we do have our moment of success? You saw with Ryan Tannehill, like he almost led the Titans to 2 AFC championships. They let him go. Let Derrick Henry go. That was a quarterback offense. The Jets, I guess they were somewhat good. If Aaron Rodgers,
let me jump in here real quick. I'm gonna give D his credit. I'm about to pull up for those who don't know. Every week, D gets a call from the people. If you know. D's plugged in. This is part of what D's been talking about this script. There's no coincidences. It is the same franchises have the same issue at quarterback. You cannot go through. What are they up to? Like 10 to 15 quarterbacks now?
Yeah.
That all of them just fall off. And it is no coincidence that something is going there and someone is telling, nah, y'all got to mess this up.
I think the Browns have had like 20 different quarterbacks since 2000.
And the sad part is Baker should still be there right now.
They had a good offense just for them. It's just so crazy. And they got 2 good running backs there. They got arguably a top 5 defense.
Yep.
2 good running backs. Judy's still there. But no. What did he say? Ring, ring, ring. Hey, you know what you just did there. Hey, I believe it, bro. I believe it's a phone call. But this don't segue right into the Jets. D, what's wrong with the Jets, man?
I think to go back what Corey said, it's just some franchises that just don't give a damn and don't want to win because this is ridiculous. Like I blame Aaron Rodgers because he messed up the whole dynamic of the team. So now you had, before Justin Fields, Jordan Travis, he got hurt, his career got messed up, and then Justin Fields comes in trying to do everything he can, still the same result, no O line, no receivers. Brees Hall is about to get shipped out for whatever reason. I don't understand. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. Sauce Gardner ain't been the same since his rookie year. When they took out that hand checking, he ain't really done nothing. He's a liability.
Garrett Wilson either.
Garrett, he don't got
no. We can't do that to Garrett Wilson.
Dude, they don't have a. This is the thing that hurts me with the Jets. My bad to cut you off, D. Is the talent almost on each level of the game. You talking about quarterback, running back. They still got a number one receiver. I get their best O lineman. I can't think of his name. He's out for the whole year, but he's top 10 in his position. You flip it over to the defense. Quentin Williams is top 5 in his position. Quentin Williams' brother is probably a top 10, 15 linebacker. Mm-hmm. Sauce Gardner, even though he's been off, he's still top 10 in his position. Every level of the way they have someone, but it doesn't translate. Like, I don't get it. I don't.
I mean, you're going to give me. I mean, I said this for the year even started. You're going to sell me that Allen Lazard is your second best receiver. And no disrespect to the kid they just brought in, Mason Taylor, but he's got a lot to learn and grow upon. And it's like when Garrett Wilson gets a double team and Justin Fields look like he's just a ghost. He's just running for his life because I don't think the Jets have surrounded him with the comparable talent around him to be confident in himself. And
I really think the issue with that team, my bad, Corey, I'm gonna let you go.
I know you're good.
Why not run a 2-back system? You got arguably a top 10 backfield with, like the Pittsburgh game, they had a high volume of running, and then they got, like, that was going to be your bread and butter. You can read option with the 2-back system. I know it's going to sound crazy in the NFL, but I would like them to do something where, like, how the Eagles' offense is simplified. Why not run that there? You have a running quarterback, you have a number one receiver, and then you have 2 really good running backs. I don't get it because I don't, like we said, the Brees Hall thing. Am we missing something, Corey? Why are we getting rid of a top 10 running back?
Well, most teams, like I've been saying that since 2021, 2022. Most teams are going to a 2-back system to where, like, you have your primary running back and then you have kind of like your maybe shift your running back. I think everybody's trying to model after Detroit because that's you better hope David Montgomery and
Jahmyr Gibbs, yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs will ask for more money because it's gonna be a hard time keeping them two together. But yeah, you gotta have that mixture. And I think with Brees Hall, I don't know who their other running back is, but yeah, like you have essentially you have a poor man's Ravens system because you have a running quarterback and Fields can throw the ball. Brees Hall, we know Brees Hall can run. And whoever their second back is, so and I think sometimes with these coaches, again, like Aaron Glenn, you came from Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell was a new head coach within himself, anyways. So it ain't like you got coaching experience, but you only start getting success your last 2 years in Detroit. So you really didn't know like what was really working. And plus you coached the defense. Now you're coaching the whole team. So unless I don't know who the OC is for the Jets, so unless you bring in a good OC, then You over here dancing down the sidelines and everything, and you saying, "Oh, we're 0-4. Oh, we're good." You better lose your job at the end of the year. What you mean you
You about
good?
to lose your job. You about to-
And these owners, they're trying to see immediate dividends now, like, and which I hate. Like I said, I think they should give coaches 2 or 3 years because you saw with Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell was what 3-13 or 4-11 his 4-12
First
his
year.
first year, and then he improved. Now Detroit, I thought Detroit was going to fall off because Ben Johnson was no longer there, but Detroit's right there. So we saw Dan
Man, the
Campbell.
truth.
We saw Dan
The
Campbell
truth.
was doing well, and his OC Johnny Morton and their DC. I forgot the dude's name, but he had some good replacements. So, um, so yeah, but I think the Jets. I think they need a whole. I think Eric Glenn could be a good coach. He just needs to find a right tree. And like I said, now these are grown men you're talking about. You should go to your quarterback, go to your running backs, go to your OC. Like, hey, what works well for y'all? What is good? What can we do that works well for y'all? How can we attack this team we're playing next week? And you got to create a new culture. I think. I think a lot, and then I think that it's up to the players too, as well. I think a lot of times when we see these 30 for 30s, these championship teams, you see that the players are taking ownership of the moment, saying, "Hey, I'm tired of losing," or "I'm tired of doing this, I'm tired of doing that," you know. And I think that could be used for a lot of these teams around the league.
Um, Let me ask you this, Corey. So we seen the Bills lose to the Patriots. This will be a two-part question. Do you
Hmm.
think the Bills are on top of the AFC as people thought? How do you feel about the Patriots and the Jags? And then the Commanders are back rolling again, and Jaden Daniels is back. How you feeling about those teams?
I think with the Bills, I think it's just one loss. I think any given Sunday, any team could lose on any Sunday. So I think they're going to learn from it. I think it's just one of those games where it's kind of slow offensively. You got Stephon Diggs coming back, so the Patriots have a little more to play for. With the Commanders, that is one of my sleeper teams. I do like Jay and Daniels, I like their whole offense. I like Dan Quinn as a coach. Um, I think he deserves a redemption for 28-3. But I think they're going to be there. I think that's going to be another team that's going to be deep in the playoffs, especially when they get Terry McLaurin back and Noah Brown. It's going to be more scary with them and Debo. The Jags are my surprise team because I was not expecting them to be 4-1. And Travis Hunter is playing both sides of the ball fairly well. I would like to see him on the offense a little bit more, get a touchdown or something. But on the defense, he's doing his thing. Um, to beat the Chiefs at home, I think that's a very big statement win. Um, who's the other team you said?
Um, Patriots.
Patriots. I like Drake May. I think he still has something to improve on, but I like him. I think they're gonna be there to contend with the Bills for the AFC East. We'll see.
D?
Um, the Bills, I don't think they have been challenged completely yet because they should not have gotten out of the Ravens game at all. That should be an L. And for the past couple of weeks, they played with the Dolphins, the Saints, and
Jets.
the Jets. So yeah, I feel like with the Bills, until they show me more against like a top tier team in the league, then that's when I'll decide on how they're gonna look the rest of the season. Patriots, I think the thing with them, like, is Mike Vrabel being a great coach, getting the best out of his players, and I think them pulling the upset off against the Bills Sunday night. He's had experience playing Josh Allen before while he was in Tennessee, so he's very familiar with his game. And I think, like you said, Stephon Diggs did a great job of stepping up, showing leadership, and getting his team rallied up. Washington, I still don't trust it. I still don't trust it yet. I think the Chargers are kind of knocking on the door as being the team they always are. So we'll see how Washington progresses throughout the season when everybody gets healthy. It still ain't sitting right with me that they traded away the running back for whatever reason, and Austin Eckler being out. So, and what was the last team?
Jaguars.
Jaguars. Oh, Jacksonville. I think they're just playing with a lot of heart right now. I think everybody is kind of coming up and coming together as a team and stepping up because a lot of these guys, especially on their defense, like Devin Lloyd, who's now up for Defensive Player of the Year, like he's been outstanding. He's been there for a minute, but I feel like he's just playing a lot of hard. He's kind of showing everybody who he is. And I think the biggest thing with Jacksonville is Trevor Lawrence because that's been the main thing. Trevor Lawrence is going to have to be the guy that's going to take them as far. So if he starts slipping, then yeah, I think Jacksonville's going to slow down a little bit.
I don't know what it is with these Chargers, but I feel the same way about the Chargers on defense about the Commanders, because the Chargers, for some reason they kind of remind me of the Chargers of the old. It's always they're right in the midst, and they come playoff time, if something happens,
That's a team that just can't help themselves. Like what? Like
it's not that for
like they start off every year. You thinking, oh, the Chargers, man, they gonna run the AFC, and it's like.
And I like Justin Herbert. I'm a big Justin Herbert fan, but it's the same. It's been the same thing since I was in elementary school. They always right there. They're always in the midst, and then sometimes in the playoffs they just and think about they've had Drew Brees, Phil Rivers, LaDainian Thompson, Keenan McCardell, who else? Antonio Gates,
Vincent
Jackson. You had all these great players, and you still couldn't make the Super Bowl. Granted, you were playing against Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and some of the other good teams in the AFC in the late 2010s and 2000s, stuff like that. But it's always something with the Chargers. I don't know what it is.
To jump in here until we get to the last topic here. The Bills, I think the Bills are the Bills. I don't get overly impressed with how they win. I just don't think you not having the number one receiver, and the team's going to go as far as Josh Allen take them, and they're going to need a little luck. Not trying to hate, but, the Bills are who they are.
Until they get past number 15, that's when I know the Bills have arrived.
Patriots they're clicking, but I still think they're another year away. I'm going to be honest. The Diggs story was a good story. I would like for them to actually get him a number one target with May and figure out who's their starting running back. That whole backfield is kind of crowded, but the defense is good. I think their defense is legit. The Commanders and the Jags, neither one of them surprised me. I was telling D, the Jags been having a squad for a little minute. The Jags have one of the better rosters in the NFL. It's just them finishing games. I put the Jags and the Chargers in the same boat from the AFC. I'm going to be one of the first people to say it wouldn't surprise me if either one of those teams make it out the AFC, but it wouldn't surprise me neither one of them make it out the first round. So they have rosters with talent. I think the Jags need to take what I was telling D with the Lions, where the Lions win and lose games with their best players. And it's no secret who's the ball's going to and who they're targeting. Either they're going to get off or they don't. I think the Jags need to figure out with Brian Thomas. Let that kid win you and lose you some games.
He's a receiver, right?
Yeah, that's their number one receiver. With Travis, I'm like you. I would like to see him implement it a little more. I think they kind of mess up because he doesn't have burner speed. I think we need to see him line up more on the slot, see him a little different, get him in motion, see some more, what he has going on. The Commanders, I've been high on the Commanders for a little minute. D will tell you is that they're very talented. I would like to see what's their next step. Can Dan Quinn get over the hump? In a crowded NFC, I think they're a little short, just being honest. But I think they're going to compete. Before we get out of here, Corey. Oh, go ahead, D.
I have a special announcement to make. Corey, we need to give an applause to Sheem. Audience, the Giants have finally came through and beat Philly. It's been a long time coming. So we want to give a shout out to Sheem because he's been waiting on this moment for a long time as a Giants fan.
What we say, it's been a long time coming, but change is going to come. But, Corey, he wasn't expecting this. The last segment, me and you are going to stay on mute. The last segment is for D. Somebody's team that got them a win, and I'm going to give you the moment of shine. What is your thoughts? What is your expectations going forward? And we don't give you the time of shine. I'm going on mute.
All righty. Last week, I had no words. I had no words for last week. My team came back and pulled it off. I actually had turned the game off because in the first half, that shit was ugly. And it looked like it'd been the past 4 weeks. So I said, you know what? Okay, we're 0-5. Just forget it. So I decided to, go outside, mind my business. I come back in. The Cardinals running back, I don't know his last name, but shout out to him for, giving us, confidence. So he just flipped the ball and, just fumbled the bag, and we were able to take advantage of that. So Cam Ward comes up and, tries to throw a touchdown pass intended for Cal, really gets tipped, intercepted, and then, the defender fumbles the ball, and it gets recovered by Tyler Lockett. Shout out to Tyler Lockett. Crazy first touchdown of the year, finally. So I'm thinking, okay, all right, we back in this. So I'm going to say this again, and y'all going to give him his respect. Cam Ward came through at the end with a game-winning drive. And shout out to Calvin Ridley. Who finally took the glue out of his hands and decided to realize and lock in and catch a football. It's about time. I want to see this moving forward because we know you got it in you. You're making $90 million. You're supposed to be the leader of this team with the receiving core. We know you got it in you. I need you to come through for me. So, moving forward, we pulled this off. And shout out to Joey Slide, for making a field goal because, you've been in a slump lately. So, moving forward, let's have the dog mentality. Let's lock in. The season ain't over. Brian Callahan, put your big boy pants on. Even though I wanted to let you get fired, I wanted to get rid of you because you've been a bad coach. But no, now it's time to put your big boy pants on. Let's go on the run. Because guess what? The Ravens are 1-4. The Chiefs are 2-3. The Bengals are 2-3. So no, let's lock in and stack up some wins like Cam Ward said so we can have a chance and fight back. Let's show the world who the number one draft pick actually is. Let them fight back. Let them know who you are. Because we was born by the river. Tighten up. Let's fight back. Let's go. Cameron, Lamar, Ward, let's go. Come on.
And that's a wrap, folks.
Hey, if you didn't know, you know now. Because guess what? A lion's a skill. Capping is not.
The fact that there's just no flavor in your wrist that was given from the start, so it just is what it is. I dropped the pin, well.